Content warnings for this video will include mentions of self-harm, possible sexual exploitation, and forcibly outing someone. Proceed with caution. When I first saw the name Sketch floating around a few days ago, I thought this was going to be art-related. I cracked my knuckles, I zoned in, and I was just so ready to see something about my actual field of expertise. And then the words like live streamer and Madden kind of echoed from video to video, and, my hopes were dashed. This world is a very big place with lots of micro-internet celebrities, so it's always really interesting to hear about a new one, and further fascination, really, that I have when hearing about how they are in some sort of scandal when I've never heard of them before. This is another one of those times, but this situation took an almost, dare I say, almost pleasant twist I wasn't really expecting, even if what started the situation was a very disgusting and vile thing to do, and the self-proclaimed journalist behind all of this honestly should kind of feel a little ashamed, in my opinion. Hey there, I'm here to interrupt your regularly scheduled entertainment. So Sketch is a streamer who has about a little over 1 million followers on Twitch and about 2 million or so, a little over that, followers on TikTok. He got pretty popular streaming Madden NFL and has had the opportunity to even work with the Houston Texans, and they chose him to be like the one that announced or picked out the 4th picked rounds for the NFL draft this year, which is pretty fascinating.
Sketch has had an unbelievably profound impact on pop culture. His catchphrases and slogans have permeated throughout the internet, to the point where some of the biggest athletes in the world are mimicking the 25-year-old streamer. He also got an upcoming rapper on the Billboard charts just by reciting his lyrics on stream. Even the NFL has collaborated with Sketch.
His rise to fame has come pretty abruptly, all things considered, with him only really starting his streaming career in July of 2023. With his sudden and rather drastic rise to fame and his increasingly relevant name, it's not really surprising to me that someone would go around digging more into him, his past, and see what kind of dirt there was to spread around and uncover. This is what the small YouTube channel PocketBook ended up doing, uploading a rather short 17.5 long video titled TheRealSketch, The Untold Story of Jamie Marr. This channel, with roughly 10,000 or so subscribers at the time of, scripting this, details how they had discovered that prior to Sketch's rise to fame with streaming NFL, Madden, gaming content, he previously did work on adult entertainment videos on OF, specifically outing him for producing queer content in particular. PocketBook makes a rather large disclaimer in the beginning of the video that he made this specifically because he had gone to school for journalism, and that this information about Sketch fit all the prerequisite criteria for a newsworthy story, or so he says.
I sat on this story for a couple of weeks. I was unsure if I really needed to create it and share it with the world. However, I did go to school for journalism. In NJ school, they taught us if a story meets the standards of timeliness, proximity, interest, controversy, sensationalism, prominence, and novelty, according to Shoemaker et al. 1987, it is newsworthy and needs to be shared with the public.
When you take a look at his channel, PocketBook was only getting roughly between 2K and maybe the rare 16K in views. There was a couple of bump off videos that got significantly more views than that, but that wasn't his average. But this video, exposing Sketch's past producing OF content, has well over 700K views as of recording this, and I have no doubt that this video could break over 1 million views. Checking PocketBook's Social Blade information also gains some insight to how this video has affected his channel, with him gaining almost 3,000 subscribers since first publishing the Exposé. The entire tone of this video is just kind of off to me, with blank monotone voice and this tagline in their About section on their YouTube channel stating, "I stand with Sketch." And I just have to wonder, what exactly was the endgame here beyond just the clout? Was the "I stand with Sketch" thing added to his profile after the backlash that he received from this video? The comments are currently actually disabled, despite the, leave comments, call to action at the end of the video. So who knows what Sketch's fan base was saying to him prior to him, disabling comments on that video.
And this video likely ended the creator of this video's YouTube career due to everyone absolutely dunking on everything he's made now.
In his video, he details that he first discovered that Sketch had previously done OF content due to a very suspicious comment left on an Instagram post involving Sketch, stating that they should Google a particular name in order to, quote, see Sketch in his true form. This name was obviously the stage name that Sketch used while making adult content.
However, in doing my research for Sketch's personal belief system, I ran across the comment from user Red Warfus on Instagram.
Upon looking more into this comment, PocketBook discovered the leaked OF content that Sketch was producing. He also states that there appears to have been, attempts to remove this information from the internet, but he was still able to uncover photos, videos, and other information relating to Sketch's past persona. Which, they don't say the internet is forever for no reason. After detailing all the reasons he believed the profile that he uncovered belonged to Sketch, PocketBook goes into theories on why he believes that a lot of entertainers end up doing adult content and vice versa, trying to tie into the historical treatment of actors and sex workers and their similarities, which could have been a pretty fascinating video essay topic, all things considered, if it wasn't for the fact that he outed someone in order to get to this point. PocketBook actually goes out of his way in the beginning sections of this video to say that all this information was publicly available, quote, on Sketch's profiles or something similar along those lines. I'll insert a clip. And that he didn't really have to pull anything out of Sketch's personal life in order to find it.
I also want to add all the information and visuals are sourced from public content sites like OF, like Reddit, like X. None of this was pulled from Kylie Cox's personal life or personal data.
But I would like to argue against that, however, because Sketch didn't use the Sketch name, nor did he use his actual name for this OF content. It was a code name, stage name, persona name that someone else had to inform him of. Thus, pretty much, actually, I think it would be considered a form of doxing personally. Which I can give just a little bit of shit for, outing this name and using this name, etc. But at the end of the day, despite using the OF Leaks page as one of his sources after he confirmed the name himself, PocketBook wasn't the one that made this information known. It was actually that comment on the Instagram post. So, as far as we know, PocketBook isn't the actual one to, leak this information. He just made the video that ended up going viral with it. He laments that this was an awkward video to record and edit together.
This video was awkward to write, and it was just as awkward to put images together for and edit.
And yeah, I sure bet it feels awkward making a video with the purpose of outing someone, but okay. Towards the end of his video, PocketBook says he felt comfortable making this video because he knew that being LGBT+ was no longer considered a career ender as it would have been in the past.
But if it does, I would like to see how do people respond to this. I think we've seen in previous years being LGBTQ+ is not a career ender that it used to be, and so I feel a little bit comfortable in sharing this, knowing that.
And I just want to stop him right there. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what information you uncover about someone, you do not know what kind of situation someone can be put in for forcibly outing them to the public. You are lucky that Sketch's audience is responding to this information in a positive light, because it could have been an actual career ender, like you said that it probably wouldn't have been. The current atmosphere for the LGBT community in America right now is actually horrific. It has progressively gotten worse over the years, as very loud and obnoxious sections of the far right are pushing more and more anti-LGBT laws. Sketch lives in Texas, which is a notoriously red state, and he could have lost a lot of opportunities with the sports teams that he was working with and other related organizations, because American sports are fueled by capitalism, and if his past life as an LGBT adult entertainer would have cost them money in the long run from endorsing him, they would have dropped him in a heartbeat. Not to mention that Sketch's family and friends, you don't know if he has a viable support network for him to come out to. He could have been disowned by his family, abandoned by his friends, and more so with the number of fans and followers he has, he probably could have had in equal measure a lot of haters as well. People are fucking nuts right now with the parasocial relationships and things like that. Him getting recognized in a supermarket or a gas station has now exponentially become a lot more dangerous with this information being out there, especially since this was dropped just as abruptly as his rise to fame, giving him almost no time to put safety measures in place for himself. I know I'm giving PocketBook specifically a lot of shit for this situation, and that unfortunately is because his video is what actually went viral and sparked this entire discussion, even if he wasn't allegedly the one that left the comment on the Instagram post. At this point in time, I honestly actually don't really feel that he had any real ill will towards Sketch, despite what a lot of other content creators are saying. I honestly believe that he just saw the Instagram comment and went, "This will do numbers on YouTube. Get that bag, sis," or whatever else goes through someone's mind when their eyes are replaced with dollar signs. I, for one, actually want to know more about the person who left that comment on the Instagram post to begin with. who the fuck is this person? Is this like the actual originator to this information? Is this the person that originally leaked the OF content in the first place? Is this like a former sex partner for Sketch that, is bitter about Sketch's fame now? Or at the end of the day, could this possibly have just been someone else that had this information, decided to share it around similarly to PocketBook? I mean, I tried digging a little deeper into this myself, but unfortunately, I'm not really that great at doing so. Looking up the profile of Red Dwarfus, or whatever pronunciation you want to use for this username, led to pretty much nothing. But then I thought maybe this was an issue of this being a display name and not like the real @username for the profile, so I tried looking at King Hendrix' page to find this post that PocketBook had screenshotted in order to maybe see the original comment and thusly be led to the commenter's profile. But that also kind of just turned out to be a bust, because it appears that that comment has also vanished like the profile did. The replies to Red Dwarfus are still up though, which a couple of them stand out to me. One of them saying things along the lines that Red Dwarfus's profile might have said that they were from the same area as Sketch, or even went to the same school, and that's how they knew this information. But of course I can't verify that though, because the profile is gone. But the second comment that caught my eye was an accusation that this was actually PocketBook's alt account, because it was suspicious that the comment would be up for almost 6 weeks prior to being deleted after the Exposé video about Sketch released. Entertaining the notion that this could have possibly been an alt account, my tinfoil hat whispers to me that maybe his comment wasn't getting the attention that he originally hoped for. Maybe he wanted someone else to make content with this information first, so he wouldn't be the one facing the brunt of the backlash for being the first one out this information about Sketch's past. But when no one took the bait in the way that he wanted, he Thanos-style said, fine, I'll do it myself. I think there's like a little bit of merit in this idea that he possibly could have wanted someone else making the content first, right? Because his channel is incredibly small, at just like 10k subscribers the last time I checked, which was a couple of days at this point.
Perhaps I am over-exaggerating the importance of my video. Perhaps it will reach the same 300 people that it always does, and it actually won't reach Sketch, and he won't have to address these things.
If a bigger channel had made that information first and made the idea more popular, then more people would look into more of that information, and thus, his channel would then in turn get like the backlog of viewers from those people that already knew the information that was just seeking out more of that information, if that makes sense. You see it a lot with like drama and commentary spaces in which like the person that broke the story tends not to have as many views as like someone else more popular that brings out that information, and then subsequently everybody else talking about it then gets more views than the originator of that information. It was a big thing that like H-Bomber Guy talked about in his plagiarism video, but he talked about it under a different guy's light and stuff like that. All of these theories and everything like that, it's a silly tinfoil hat talk, right? There's no proof that this was like PocketBook's alt account that dropped this information, and it's also giving the situation way more thought than I really think is actually needed. The more reasonable theory people are passing around is that Red Dwarfus was just some random dude that was wanking it one day and realized a face he saw on TikTok. Maybe he tried to comment the information in Sketch's own comment sections, but not wanting the information to leak, maybe Sketch has those keywords blocked, and that unfortunately just confirmed for Red Dwarfus that they were correct with who it was in their adult video that they were watching. That's the risk that you pose when you're blocking certain keywords from your comment sections because you don't want to be like doxed or information leak. It basically just confirms that the information that someone has and wants to use against you and comment on your profile and stuff like that, it just confirms that it's true and they have the correct information. It's a double-edged sword in that way. Because yeah, you can block things from your own comment section, but you can't block things from other people's comment sections or other people's profiles. Although I do find it odd that this person just commented on King Hendrix' post and not like any other post relating to Sketch as far as I'm aware. I wish the profile didn't like just poof into thin air. I want to know if there were other comments. Like, was this an internet troll just spamming it to anybody that mentioned things about Sketch, or was this specifically one of King Hendrix' followers that, like I said, was wanking it one day and realized what was going on? Was this just some random internet troll, an alt account, someone wanting to pick a bone with Sketch, someone that Sketch did work with that is now bitter that Sketch is getting all the attention and fame while they're not? Who knows? At the end of the day, this person's motives no longer really matter in the long run, since PocketBook's video is what went viral with this information, and has led a lot of people to assume that this information would have ended Sketch's career, as it had a very high likelihood could to do so. And with his career and reputation on the line, Sketch pretty much had to make a public statement regarding all of this, but I was pretty surprised with the direction that the public statement actually took. Like most of his career has been so far, Sketch made his announcement pretty abruptly. The first 2 minutes of the video are just like blank, like nothingness, like blank screen. So the video is like actually a little like less than 7 minutes long, despite it saying like 9 minutes or whatever. And he went live on his Twitch channel to like discuss it, and probably did like a dual stream on TikTok too, but I was just watching the Twitch stream, right? Now, if I would have went into this blind, which unfortunately I didn't, but if I would have went into this blind, I would have expected him to like make some sort of excuse, right? Like, oh, evil twin, doppelganger situation, I got a really like regular face and so I get mistaken for a lot of people frequently, you know, the Gordon Ramsay porn star clone, you know, that kind of stuff. But he actually didn't do any of those excuses or anything like that. He cracks a couple of jokes, but he actually just starts off the video with confirming that the information was real and that he was indeed previously doing adult content.
Wasn't planning on doing this today, but I guess so. Okay, I'll start from the top. Look at this, open and honest. That was me. That was me. It's okay, though. I will tell you what. Okay.
He cites issues with addiction as a cause, and he has changed and moved on from that life.
Okay, I was dealing with some addiction problems.
He apologizes for the content, which I'll get into more later. He also states that he thought his life would be over if, you know, his past as an OF content creator ever got leaked. Like I said, he begins the video cracking a couple of jokes, but the mood turns pretty somber as he confesses that he was thinking of ending himself over these leaks, but luckily, he actually has a really good support system that helped him through it, which everybody is relieved and glad about.
But on a real note, I've been living under the threat of that coming out for like 2 years. And I have a lot of people to credit for, I'll be honest, plan A was, and I will say candidly, probably to call it quits if this ever came out. But some people saved me. Shout out Banks. Shout out my parents. Like, shout out y'all. Like,
despite this information coming to light and pretty much forcibly outing Sketch and him admitting to making that particular type of adult content that he did, he doesn't actually outright come out and say that he's gay during this confession video. I think there is a very distinct difference in knowing that you do not have to be queer yourself in order to make queer-related content, especially in the adult entertainment space or acting or anything else when it comes to like people just doing things that they need to do for the sake of money. After all, there's like a lot of big-name actors that you can watch that play queer roles and are not actually queer themselves. I think the same kind of applies to adult entertainers as well, because at the end of the day, a lot of it is just acting, just a little more physical. And I mean, you can get practically any job done with the right amount of lube, right? At this point, with no real denials to speak of, though, it's more than likely that he does identify as gay or bi or even pan or something along those lines. But I think it's a little disingenuous for people to claim that he admitted to being gay, specifically in his confession video, because that's not what he did. He admitted to doing the adult content, but he did not make any notions about his sexuality within that 9-minute video. Now, as a note, beyond like the screenshots that PocketBook placed in his video, like the Exposé, I didn't actually go out of my way to try to find or watch any of Sketch's adult content. I know he doesn't like it being around, so I'll respect that, but I do feel the slight need to be on kind of a tiny little soapbox for a moment. I appreciate him owning up to the situation. It's a great outlook for his overall honesty, and I think this honesty is going to get him very far with building a more respectful audience towards not only himself, but, you know, other members of, like, his community and the queer community at large. But I don't think that creating adult content should be something to be ashamed about. I view sex work as any other service. If there is a demand for it and you fill that role and you enjoy doing so, like you willingly do it, more power to you. You should be paid for performing a service that people are seeking out. The only reason I'm relieved for Sketch moving on from that life is because he equated it to addiction problems and a dark past in his life. If he later came out to do more adult content, this time in a better headspace and for the fun that it should be, I would still support his choice to do so. If he is consenting to the actions and his partners are also consenting adults to the actions taking place, they can do whatever they please and I'm not going to demonize them for it. This entire situation actually ended with a more pleasant twist than I was expecting once it became evident that there was actually an outcry of support for Sketch as opposed to like the backlash that he thought he was going to receive. It could have easily become a situation in which he would have been beaten down into like the internet's newest lolcow, but his audience, for the most part, is surprisingly wholesome with a lot of encouragement towards him, which is always really refreshing to see. Some people have even made comments publicly that knowing that they still like Sketch even with the knowledge that he made queer content in the past has broadened their worldview quite a lot and made them question why they even ever had issues with queer people in the past. Knowing he did queer content doesn't actually change much about Sketch and who he is in this present day. Hilariously, I also appreciate that these like manosphere dingbats who are trying to like shame Sketch and call him slurs and other nonsense over this are actually being completely fucking ratioed by Sketch's fan base. I'm not usually one for weaponizing an audience really, since it can be a kind of dangerous thing with many fans taking extreme measures for the sake of like their favorite content creator. But maybe letting your fans destroy some homophobes comment section is actual justice in this situation. Overall, though, there doesn't really seem to be current issues right now with his previous supporters, like his NFL like affiliations and like opportunities and things like that. But it still might be too early to see if there's any real ramifications for all of this as of scripting. I'm just glad that he has a loving and supportive fan base ready to be there for him when he needs it most. And additionally, I'm also really glad he has like a real life support network in order to help him through any like mental health turmoils that he might have through this situation. But for the future, if you know someone is queer, but they don't talk about it publicly, make sure they're actually publicly out instead of relying on an OF leak under a fake screen name. If Sketch did end up hurting himself over this, I would wish PocketBook and whoever the fuck Red Dwarfus is nightmares for the rest of their lives. May their pillows always be hot and slightly damp, their microwave meals always frozen in the middle, and a paper cut every time they touch their mail. Anyway, as always, be respectful in the comment section. This isn't the most sensitive of topics as it could have been, but that's only because it had a surprising positive twist ending from like the reception of the people with this information. This video, like all of my content, is brought to you by Patreon, so thank you so much to Ippo, Alec, Ashley, Mel, and Clint for subscribing. And also thank you to the channel member, Megan May. If you want to support me, either on Patreon or channel membership or whatever you like, check out the links in the description. Leave a like on this video and subscribe for more. This is Finn, signing off. Until next time.
I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. 'Cause I can't move on till I